All right, I have literally. This is all kind of a creative thing that starts up. Good afternoon, by the way. So what I'm going to talk about is actually related to one of the earlier videos I did on Vlad the Impaler or Vlad Dracula, who was the inspiration for Bram Stoker's 1897 novel, which was called Dracula. Bram Stoker's Dracula. He was the inspiration, although this man lived and died in the 1400s, which would make it what, about at least 400 years? No, at least 400 years prior to this man making that book. Although the vampire folklore was well alive before that, and to be honest, I mean, okay, look. When we talk about World War One, we talk about it as an accurate thing. When we talk about Napoleon Bonaparte, we talk about it as an accurate thing, even though it was centuries ago. We say this was history and this is official. So to have it, and this is like as official as history gets. Vlad the Impaler is as real of a real of a historical figure as Napoleon Bonaparte. Maybe even more than Napoleon Bonaparte. I mean, other than the fact that Napoleon's more recent. But the thing is, I mean, imagine we don't talk about Pharaoh like he was. Oh, Pharaoh's name. Oh, King Ramsey was like this. He did this on Mondays. He did that on Friday. Like we don't know anything about ancient Egypt. Okay, even though ancient Egypt is what. When I was in third grade, they took us. We had a whole 2 months where our study was all of ancient Egypt. They took us to the museum where they had an ancient Egyptian exhibit and all that. But the truth is, we don't really know anything. All they left behind was hieroglyphics and pictures carved inside of the pyramid with tombs and mummies and gold. We don't know anything about them at all. But anyways, it's a big thing for this guy, for Dracula, or Vlad, to be such a real historical figure, even though it was the 1400s. And you got to understand that Western history is quite is known to be quite reputable, and this is a big part of Western history. I mean, Romania, the Ottomans were basically threatening all of Europe. You know, the Ottomans were actually strong enough to threaten all of Europe. You know, they were willing. They would have if they were able to, they would have very well taken over all of Europe. You know, and they felt like that. They started with Ukraine and Bosnia and I think Albania and stuff, and they were finding themselves to be successful. They were like, dude, you know, even if they didn't think it, if they kept on, they would have just taken over all of Europe. Right? So this guy apparently, when the Ottomans were at their strongest, this guy was supposed to be the one that gave him the biggest trouble. Now, I find out, I don't know if this is true, his father was put into something called the Order of the Dragons in Roman language. But that's what it means in English, roughly. It's supposed to translate into. His father was assigned the Order of Dragons by the Pope, which was supposed to be to fight the Ottomans. Okay? And so naturally, I mean, but he's supposed to be one of, out of that chunk of Europe, he's supposed to have put up the best fight. Like, he's supposed to have really, really troubled them with a small amount, like a very small army. The Ottomans were outnumbering these guys like crazy. And he had a small army, but he was able to fight well. Now, they will criticize him and say that he was kind of nuts. They call him Vlad the Impaler because he was putting sticks on their routes with the heads of their soldiers. So as they rode past, they would see the heads of their soldiers on pikes or spears or whatever, put into the ground. And not just one or two, like just a row of heads. Sorry, not shoulders, heads. Where am I getting with this? Now, you see, he was kidnapped as a child by the Ottomans. And I think they let him go when he was about 16 years old. But now, I don't know how much of a kidnap it was because he was a child. I think his family, he was away from his family, so it was just easy to pick him up. And really, I mean, as a child, what did he even know? Apparently, the Ottomans treated him very good. Apparently, the Ottomans were training him to become one of their captains or whatever in their army, but he decided to defect back to Romania. Goes back at 16, becomes nobility, blah, blah, blah. the reason I'm bringing it up is because I feel something in my life. Like, I'm not just talking about myself or for others, some others, but I know this is a real thing, right? Now, sometimes what happens is, and I'm talking about how the Ottomans were kind of raising him or treating him, was that, you start off as a pawn on the chessboard, right? You're a pawn, but you get promises, right? You get a promise. So in order to put you on their team, they put you on as a pawn and they give you promises. You will have wealth. And when you talk about like literal war mercenaries, when you're talking about money, that's a big deal for mercenaries. Okay, if you offer a mercenary the right price and you know he's very skilled and he's able, he will do the fucking job for you if the price is right. Right? So you're a pawn, but you're brought in as, hey, listen, you're a pawn. But if you do well, we promise you wealth, we promise you, and we might even upgrade you to knight, right? From pawn, you go to knight. You can go to rook. I don't know about bishop. You go to rook, but you can never be king. You'll never be king, but you can be a knight or a rook. Now, a rook is fantastic, by the way. A knight is still, you're in there, you're just kind of a celebrated soldier, right? You are a celebrated soldier when you become a knight, right? You're a knight, you can become a rook, right? That's what they promise you. Not for Vlad, that wasn't good enough. He didn't want to become an elite captain in the Ottoman army. He didn't want that. He wanted what was genuine. So he wanted to go back to Romania, to Transylvania, to their ruling castle, live in the castle, become nobility again, become Prince of Transylvania within Romania, leading his own Romanian army. Why? Because it was genuine. Now, so they say Vlad drank blood. But he's not the only one. There's been people historically that have drank a lot of blood. Anyway, he was drinking blood. Now, the thing is, did vampires drink blood or not? I think, I'm pretty sure maybe some of them did. It's possible. I don't think it's healthy for them or anything, but they have vampire teeth, so it may be something natural to them to want to, or maybe they're perceived as drinking blood. Whatever the case is, maybe he wanted to win over the folklore. You're in Romania, the homeland of the folklore of the vampire, and you want to win over the people, become nobility and everything. Maybe he wanted to really be legit. Like, I am a legit vampire. I'm drinking blood here. Okay. All right. So the whole idea is even with me, I would leave the chessboard, to be very honest. I don't want to be on the chessboard. I don't want to be a chess piece to somebody that I'm being moved around. You know what I mean? and sometimes, people want to turn you into a piece on a board with promises. Now, if you're promising, they will give you promises. They will give you big promises. You know what I mean? And the thing is, to somebody who's willing to risk their life for money, that's a sweet deal. All right? That's a really sweet deal. Okay? For others, they'll just be like, well, I got nothing fucking going on. And if I don't, I'm going to get recruited anyways. I got no fucking choice. I'm going to be a pawn. You know what I mean? And they'll gladly be a pawn. They'll go from farmer to pawn. Well, I was free as a farmer, but I got no fucking choice. Currently, I got to become a pawn. Whatever the case. But I feel the same way. I want to be what I am legit. I want to be genuine. And I don't want to be, no matter what the promise is, I don't want to be a piece on the chessboard. Right? But yeah, but that's the thing. It's not like the chessboard is the world. The chessboard is not the world. The chessboard is a political and physical battlefield. Chess is a war game. That's the battlefield. You don't have to be involved in a war always, right? You got to remember that it is not, like some people do, but not everybody does not have to be involved in a war. That's not how it is. Okay, some people, like, even when America went to war in World War, there were a lot. I know there was drafts and stuff like that, but a lot of people were just celebrating and cheering people on and just giving that morale up, trying to build that morale, like fans in a basketball or in a soccer game. You know what I mean? A football game, just fans trying to cheer on the players. That's the same thing, but you don't have to be on the chessboard in the political or the realm or the real realm of the battlefield. You don't have to do that. So that's the thing. The thing is, I think Vlad went a little early because he left at 16 and he somehow found his way back up. I don't think I imagine it must have been quite difficult. and he was skilled and good enough to land that. Probably in his 20s at some point, or his mid or late 20s, became Prince again, or Prince officially. But yeah, but that's the deal. That's the deal. That's the deal. Yeah, that's really it. But yeah, my I don't have a battlefield vision. You know what I mean? And I don't want to be on the battlefield, and I don't want to be a piece for somebody to move around. You know what I mean? Especially if the people that I'm associated with, if they're not like, we're not, you're not going to take one and put them here, one and put them there, because you don't work those rules within your own system. So until you're ready to destroy, I'll tell you right now, there's only one way. You got to destroy your own system. Until you don't destroy your own system, until you destroy your own system, it is very difficult to break rules break or make rules like that until you are ready to destroy your own system. And that would be with the vision of creating a new system, which would be very difficult. So that's the deal, and that's what it is. If you're willing to go to those lengths, you can go to those lengths. It definitely would not be recommended by anyone giving advice in any situation. What more can I say? That's it. That's really it. We're living real lives here. You know what I mean? Especially like, yeah, not especially, but even me. I told you, whatever I did, dude. Even if I was involved in anything, I have like at least 2 contacts in there, and not contacts that I was physically shaking hands with. Hey, how's it going? Hugging them and stuff. Not like that. But I got contacts, and that's all I need. And the value's been built and gone up, so you have that everywhere. You know what, man? Yeah, that's pretty much it. Yeah. I don't know what else. That's it. I don't know what else to say. Well, you know what? Everybody knows the reality. But when someone's reality is losing, they try to manipulate and change things in order to still do things their way. And either way, they're going to destroy their own system, or they're going to destroy themselves. But either way, it's up to people how they want to deal with it. Anyways, I'm done with this. I put enough content in here. I will come back with another video.